Red and White Plum Blossoms is an Edo Japanese landscape painting created by Ogata Korin in the year 1710, made of ink, watercolor, and gold leaf on 2 paper screens. Korin's customers were typically wealthy merchant families that wanted his art to be used in their homes. The function of this piece of art was most likely used as a decoration or background. He was part of what was called the Rinpa, also referred to as the Rinpa school of art in Japan. Korin painted this landscape in later years of his life. His masterpiece, Red and White Plum Trees, established the direction of the Rinpa school of art for the remainder of its history. The world is fortunate that this masterpiece survived an air raid on Japan in World War II, including a direct hit on where the painting was stored.
Let us look at the iconography of this painting. The stream indicates the changes in the artist's life from younger to older, which can be seen in the stream at the center of the painting, as the stream is at first wide, then becomes narrow. The beginning of life is full of youthful strength and possibility, like the wide beginning of the stream, but that youth is long gone at the end of life, and so is the realm of unlimited possibilities, like the narrow end of the stream. The red plum tree with its thick trunk symbolizes youth and strength. The red plum is a symbol for the positive side of someone's life. The white plum tree is old and thin. It has delicate white flowers, indicating a calm, wise mind.
Let us look at how the motives from the natural world reflect the cultural beliefs of this painting. Attitudes to dreams vary depending on cultural, and in Japanese culture during Korin's era, dreams were considered important. Baku are Japanese supernatural beings that devour dreams. Korin painted red and white plum blossoms as a dream vision. The painting, both abstract and realistic at the same time like a dream, has a background of gold leaf that gives the entire painting an ethereal glow. Korin's innovation was to depict nature as an abstract using numerous color and hue gradations and mixing colors on the surface to achieve eccentric effects, as well as liberal use of precious substances like gold and pearl. The stream's stylized metallic curls and spirals are a dreamlike vision of flowing water.
Let us discuss the cross-cultural connections of this painting. Korin was an artist of the Rinpa school. The Rinpa style flourished in Kyoto, Nara, and Osaka, the political and cultural triangle of ancient Japan. Nanga's southern painting was exposed to the influence of Rinpa painting and vice versa. Nanga admired traditional Chinese culture in painting. Their paintings were usually in monochrome black ink and always nearly depicted Chinese landscapes or similar subjects. Thus, the cross-cultural influence on Korin was Chinese culture and painting via the Nanga style in Japan. He was also the son of the textile merchant, which influenced him incorporate textile patterns into his art. In addition, Red and White Plum Blossoms has cross-cultural connections to the West because it impacted painting in the West, most notably in the work of Gustav Klimt, an Austrian painter who used oil paint and gold leaf for the kiss in 1908.
Let us note the formal characteristics of this painting. The 2 paper screens show a flowing stream surrounded by 2 plum trees. The left blossom tree is red and the white blossom tree is white. At approximately 67 inches in height, they were taller than the average Japanese person of the day. The plum flowers are depicted with pigment without any outlines. This technique was known as corn plum flowers. Terashikomi, used for the tree trunks in this painting, is a technique in which colors are blended by dripping one over another that is still wet. Contrasting the red plum tree, the white plum tree is old and thin. The stream in this painting starts off wide and gradually becomes narrower. The stream at the center of the painting is shown in both screens, showing expansion. Stylized curving shapes on the stream represent water flowing. The background is gold leaf and black ink is utilized extensively.
Travelers by Streams and Mountains is another landscape painting that compares to white and red plum blossoms. It is a Chinese watercolor painting made on a large hanging scroll nearly 7 feet in height by Fan Quan in the 10th century during the Song dynasty.
Let us discuss the iconography of Travelers Among Streams and Mountains. This painting addresses the theme of man in the natural world. The boulders along the path that mules are going could represent obstacles in one's life because paths are often symbolic of a life journey from youth to old age. The perspective of both the ground level and the very top of the mountain help the viewer take a journey through the piece. Red and White Plum Blossoms indicates its artist's path through life from youth to later in life, so there is similarity in the theme and iconography of Kwan's and Korin's paintings. The white tree in Korin's painting implied his spirit as a mature artist, and the stream in the center of the painting that is dark and winding suggests Korin's life changing in his later years as he ages. Although executed differently, both Kwan's and Korin's paintings indicate the insignificance of humans against nature, including time. Thus, both paintings demonstrate life journeys. What is different in the iconography of the two artists is that Kwan contrasts the insignificance of man as small characters in his painting with the grandeur and significance of nature as a huge mountain in the painting. Instead, Kwan uses a narrowing stream and two contrasting plum trees to illustrate the insignificance of man in contrast to relentless nature and time.
Let us look at how the motives from the natural world reflect the cultural beliefs of travelers among streams and mountains. This painting represents Fan Kwan's idea about Neo-Confucianism, man's harmonious existence in a vast but orderly universe, search for the absolute truth in nature as well as self-cultivation. Neo-Confucianism was not very widespread, but its values and ideas influenced Fan Kwan's painting. Kwan fully implemented his cultural beliefs in the creation of his painting. Before painting travelers amongst streams and mountains, Kwan practiced Neo-Confucianism by secluding himself among the forests and mountains and devoting himself to observing the effects of atmospheric weather and seasonal changes on the scenery. Kwan's personality was very different than Kwan's. Kwan was a heavy spender that had to avoid debt collectors. However, on life's journey, a personal landscape exists in nature and in the mind. Kwan did not commune with nature like Kwan, but Kwan understood the importance of dreams in Japan and the relentless nature of time, and was able to translate that understanding to iconography in the natural world in white and red plum blossoms.
Let us note the cross-cultural connections of travelers among streams and mountains. This monumental landscape painting was made during the Song Dynasty, a culturally rich and sophisticated age in China. Chinese painting during the Song Dynasty reached a new level of sophistication with further development of landscape painting. The emphasis laid upon landscape painting in the Song period was based on Chinese philosophy, Taoism, which advocates humility and harmony, and Neo-Confucianism, which is the search for absolute truth in nature. White and red plum blossoms was inspired by Chinese culture and landscape painting via the Nanga style of painting in Japan. Even if Kwan was unaware of Kwan specifically, Kwan was influenced by Kwan since Kwan had a huge impact on Chinese landscape painting.
Let us discuss the formal characteristics of this painting. Travelers Among Streams and Mountains is a very vertical piece, a 7-foot-tall scroll, which emphasizes the large side of the mountain. The size of the mountain is also portrayed through the proportions between the three sections, the foreground, middle area, and the mountain itself. The painting is dominated by an imposing mountain that occupies almost 2/3 of the scene. The impressive mountain has only the waterfall breaking the uniformity of the surface of the rock. In contrast, the lower third of the composition is rich in detail from the temple that appears just below the waterfall to barely visible human figure. Fan Kwan employs the use of many different characteristic texture strokes to model the different surfaces. The small brush strokes on the mountains are called raindrop strokes. Kwan rendered the mountains and slopes with jagged outline strokes and filled them with brush dabs resembling raindrops. Although Kwan used the Tarashikomi wet paint and dripping technique, which is different than Kwan's raindrop strokes, both Kwan and Kwan use texture painting techniques that are not entirely dissimilar, even though they lived and painted centuries apart in different countries. Both this painting and white and red plum blossoms are roughly 6 to 7 feet tall, providing a sense of scale that heightens the scenes of vastness of space within the paintings. Travelers Among Streams and Mountains has thickening and thinning of the landscape features, just like the stream in white and red plum blossoms.